The Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry has withdrawn its support for the bicameral Joint Special Select Committee as the investigatory body on the findings of the special audit of the Immigration and Nationality Department. In a press statement issued out this morning, the Chamber outlines that during a meeting, Prime Minister Dean Barrow, quote, introduced the matter of the special audit of the Immigration and Nationality Department and presented two options to deal with the matter. First, the reconstituted Public Accounts Committee, PAC, or two, a bicameral Joint Special Select Committee of the two houses of the National Assembly, end of quote. However, during the meeting, the representatives of the Chamber expressed that the reconstitution of the Public Accounts Committee would prolong the commencement of the inquiry, since legislative changes would be required. It was based on this notion that the Chamber agreed that the best choice would have been a bicameral Joint Special Select Committee. However, the Chamber realized that formation of the committee may be unconstitutional, in that the only body that is given that explicit constitutional authority to investigate is the Senate. It is this view that the Chamber had no choice but to withdraw its support for the bicameral Joint Special Select Committee. President of the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Nikita Usher, spoke to Love News.
Very clearly, where we originally had a position on the bicameral Joint Special Select Committee, and now when it was time to work on the possible TOR for that committee, the stumbling block came when we look at the Constitution and how constitutional it is for the purpose of that select committee. So I think that is a very clear explanation that came out in our letter. Other bodies have already taken the stance in that other bodies were asking already for a Senate committee. The opposition has certainly done that. I believe other social partners have done similarly. And we are not following behind, but we have really done our homework to see where the Constitution lies, and that's where we are now. That is where the Constitution lays it. Investigative rights are done actually by the Senate, and that's exactly what we have called for. In addition, I think there's been some other speculations, and you've heard the Prime Minister alluded to that already, that the chair should probably come from the social partners. That gives a little wider view, a balanced view, an independent view of where the investigation could lead.
Does the Constitution speak about the composition of the Senate Select Committee?
It makes provision for the Senate to do investigation. I don't know that it makes, and I am not a constitution authority, so I would not want to go that direction, but I don't know that it makes provision to say the composition. I know the last one that was done, however, did have three social partners, one opposition and one government. That was way back in the early 2005 or 6 or whatever year it was. I think the Prime Minister's statement was more in line of the standing order, according to him, I'm quoting his words, is more to have a balanced or equal to what the House representation is. And in his mind, I'm trying to remember what I heard from him, but I think he was saying that he won an election and therefore he should have a majority with respect to him and the opposition. That doesn't stop from the social partner having three. And so that is when you're looking at a select committee, a special select committee. Again, I say, that when we're finished with the TOR and what we presume what should be in the select committee or the entire Senate for that matter, then we will then present that motion as we go forward. So that is where we are. It is in draft mode. We are working on that right now. We are waiting the government's response on this matter. In the meantime, we are working towards getting finalization.
Last week, Friday, PM Barrow made it absolutely clear that he does not want Senator Mark Lizarraga to chair the committee. According to Usher, the senator is not interested in chairing the committee.
I really don't know what is the personal discussions between the two, and I really don't want to get into that line of discussion, only to say that in my personal discussion with our own senator, I really don't know that our senator is really interested in chairing the committee. But in terms of what the Prime Minister and the senator has, in terms of their discussions, I would not want to be a part of that discussion. That would have to be one between the two.
Does the chamber have any specific person it would prefer to see to chair the committee?
Well, the chamber is actually working now on a draft UR in terms of what we would want the committee to be looking into. That is in progress as we speak, at which time we will certainly have a position in terms of where the chair should be. Certainly we want to ensure that those who have been named in the document, in the audit report, we feel honestly should not be serving. The Senate motion has to be put on the floor. That has to be a motion that is placed. We are awaiting now a response back from the Prime Minister in terms of how quickly government is going to push for that to occur. Certainly the cry has to be from every quarter that that is what the public wants, that's what the social partners want, and we need not give up on that so that the inquiry can commence immediately. We want to see the inquiry happen. I think it's the best thing for our nation. It solidifies the point and the reasons why Belizeans at large should be joining along with the Chamber to ensure that the government sign on to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption.
A communication has been sent to Prime Minister Dean Barrow informing him of the Chamber's position. In that letter, the Chamber also calls on the government of Belize and all elected and appointed leaders to allow the inquiry to be conducted by the Senate.